Hi, everybody. Welcome to This One's Dedicated To. I'm Chris Barton.
And I'm Jennifer Ziegler, and we are here with our esteemed guest, Janet Fox, author of the picture book Winter Garden, which she wrote, which is illustrated by Jasu Hu. Welcome, Janet.
Thanks. It's nice to see you guys. I'm Janet. Here's my
We're
book.
happy to have you with us. To start us off, could you read the dedication to Winter Garden?
I would love to. To the ones who helped me grow, Jeff and Kevin, and to CL, who taught me all about plants.
A little bit mysterious. Why is this book dedicated to the people it's dedicated to, and who are these people?
Okay, so Jeff is my husband. Kevin is my son. And since day one, I have always dedicated all my books to them, regardless of the other dedication that I might add, because they're the most important people in my life, and they've supported me throughout. So that's really important to me. CL, which are the initials C and L, is my oldest, bestest friend, who I met because my husband and her husband, and for a time me, we were all in science together. We all sort of grew up in marine geology together, and so we've known each other as a couple of families since before all our boys were born. They have two boys, we have one, and so we used to spend every Thanksgiving and every Christmas with them. CL was an artist when I met her, and a weaver. She transitioned into starting to really get heavily into gardening. And then she became a master gardener. She's written books. And at the same time, I loved gardening, but I really could not keep anything alive. And not a house plant, not anything. And yet I just loved gardening. I just loved being outside in nature in every way. So we lived very close to each other. We saw each other a lot, and she really started teaching me how to garden. And I, watched and learned, and so that's how I became. I'm a rabid gardener now. I have extensive plantings of all kinds, from fruits and vegetables to ornamental gardens, and I've really loved it. And in fact, it went so far that before I became a children's book writer, I worked with the schools in helping them develop school gardens. So some of my earliest articles were in magazines and periodicals and other places, teaching teachers how to work with kids in school gardens. So this is kind of a natural evolutionary path that after all these years, I should write a picture book about gardening. And that CL, of course, started me on that path.
So you describe CL as a master gardener. So for those of
Yes.
us who don't know, what exactly is that?
So a master gardening program is a nationwide program that actually certifies gardeners at a level of competence. It's sort of like getting a master's degree, an MFA or whatever, but it's in gardening. And so she has reached that level. She works at a garden center, counseling people and dealing with all of that, the trade side of gardening. But she also has extensive gardens. She, as I said, she's written a couple of books. She lives now on Cape Cod, so her gardening experiences are very different from what I live with now, which is why Winter Garden is is about winter gardening in Montana, where it's winter 12 months a year. One of the things I have now, I have a greenhouse, which is necessary for growing anything like tomatoes and basil and that kind of thing. And I also have a miniature indoor greenhouse for the winter, because the greenhouse is too cold in the winter. So I have one of these kind of standing light arrayed things where I can grow things. So I was in the middle of COVID, I just was craving green and growing and healthy stuff. And so I started growing greens to put in salads and sandwiches and all of that. And this book just came out of that. And of course I sent her a copy with, all the bells and whistles.
Is that
Yeah.
how you told her, or
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think I told her ahead of time. I just sent it to her and, signed it and pointed it out that I had dedicated it to her. Yeah. So,
How did she react?
she was pretty cool about it, actually. She invited me to be on her radio show, which broadcasts, it's a live radio show, and it broadcasts live at 7 a.m. East Coast time. So that one was a bit of a stretch, setting the alarm for 4:30 so I could go live on this radio show with my best friend.
And now, if you don't want to get up at 4:30, you can dedicate it to someone on the West Coast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, next book, definitely.
this is your first fiction picture book? Is
Yeah.
it different coming up with a dedication for a fiction book versus nonfiction, or?
Yeah, no, I mean I've actually forgotten who, because it's so wild that I've forgotten who I dedicated. I know it was Jeff and Kevin.
Yeah.